I don't even know what to say. Don't know what to say. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I don't know if I can do a post-game show. Whew, man. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I don't even know. This is when you wish you didn't have a channel where you had to come on and talk about this kind of stuff. Yeah, where do you start? The holding call? Um, the defense. I mean, the Devontae Smith overturn, the Hurts fumble, zero pressure, defense getting just torched. Yeah, 90-yard return. I see that one right there. Yeah, TJ Edwards looked terrible. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, the Quez drop, another good one. Yep, the Quez drop. Yeah, I mean it. Yeah, I think you chalk this one up to Jonathan Gannon and the defense. I think it's as simple as that. I really do. It's as simple as that. I mean, they scored every single possession in the second half, right? Every single one. And there were no, I mean, you gotta get stops. Gotta get stops. Because yeah, I mean, listen, the no call is gonna be obviously talked about for the rest of my life, especially tomorrow, but the rest of my life. And we're all gonna complain about it. But they still kick, even if it's incomplete, they kick a field goal. You still have time to go down and potentially score. They could still lose a game, right? You can't give up that many points to injured Patrick Mahomes in the second half. It's that simple. It's really that simple. Yeah, the comment there. Run defense got absolutely exposed. They did. They got obliterated. I mean, Isaiah Pacheco had everything he wanted. They blitzed like twice and got completely annihilated on both of them. You let Patrick Mahomes, who apparently has no ankle, have like a 40-yard run somehow. James Bradbury looked terrible. Darius Slay looked terrible. Marcus Epps looked terrible. Reddick had no pressure. Josh Sweat had no pressure. I mean, Jalen Hurts can only do so much. I mean, what do you want the guy to do? I mean, Jalen Hurts played a perfect football game. You take away the drop fumble, which was awful, and yet he still immediately drove down the field and scored again. But what do you want him to do? It was perfect. Offensively, it was perfect. Sure, they could have ran the football more. Sure, Miles Sanders barely got touches, which was weird. Sure, a couple of play calls here and there, but you know, you score 35 points in a Super Bowl, you're supposed to win. It's as simple as that. You give up 7 points against the 49ers, 7 points against the Giants. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you get a couple of games here and there where the defense got exposed. Washington, Packer game a little bit in that first half, but I mean, you got to be able to get stops, right? So hopefully the Arizona hires Jonathan Gannon and they, fire him within 2 years because obviously he's not going to do anything there. Have fun, collect your money, like we said in the pregame show. Get your money. You know, false start before the fumble. Yep, that was also terrible. Forgot about that one. Yep. Well, I mean, it was death by 1,000 paper cuts. Truly, it was death by 1,000 paper cuts. And yet you had an MVP type performance in what would have put Jalen Hurts into legendary status if they win that game. And yet now no one's going to talk about it. No one will talk about what Jalen Hurts did at all. Devontae Smith was incredible. He should have been a catch. AJ Brown was fantastic. Touchdown. Dallas Goedert was incredible. I thought the offensive line played pretty well. Won their best game, but they played pretty well. Steichen called a good game. And then you watch your defense get absolutely shredded. This was Super Bowl 52 all over again, just minus a Brandon Graham strip sack. It's what it was. It was a shootout where your defense could not stop anybody. Remember in that one, they had no pressure on Tom Brady all night long, and then finally got a strip sack from Brandon Graham to seal the game. Big third down conversions in both of them, But in the end, can't give up 38, as Jose Luna just said. Yeah. I mean, at least in the first half, you had a couple of stops, I guess. In the second half, you can't get a stop. Yeah, someone just said 70 sacks. Yeah, 0 sacks. They didn't even touch him. I mean, yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't know what there is to say. This is what it feels like. We forget. It was 2003 the last time we felt this. I was 8, and I cried myself to sleep. And then you win one, and you realize how great it is on the other side, and then you know what it feels like, and then now you get to experience it again. Hanky Panky is right. Nick Wright will be very damn annoying tomorrow. Yes, just don't watch. I mean, come on. It's best not to watch tomorrow. Truly, it's if you want to torture yourself, it's best not to watch. Don't watch anything tomorrow. Just don't. Don't get on Twitter. Don't watch anything. Defense could have ran into a defensive lineman. He could have ran into a defensive lineman. We still wouldn't have sacked him. Yeah. Yeah, listen, Lee says, can we fire Jonathan Gannon? Can you pray that the Cardinals hire him? Because they won't fire him. But can you pray the Cardinals will hire him? Seriously, I mean, that is the hope right now, is that Jonathan Gannon is gone. And I've defended Gannon this year. I ripped Gannon this year. I've been all over the place on Jonathan Gannon. It's impossible to know. It truly is. He's had some incredible performances. But you can't watch that with 2 weeks of prep and essentially the same defensive coverage the entire game as it gets shredded and they make no changes. And then you watch essentially 3 wide open touchdowns. The Kelsey one early. Epps was horrible in coverage. And then obviously the Sky Moore one wide open. Kadarius Toney wide open. And yet Jalen Hurts still took them right down the field. Devontae Smith, incredible catch. Quarterback power, unstoppable touchdown. And yet, here we are. Why is Sirianni so high on Gannon? I don't know. I don't know what you guys want. Do you want to rant about how horrible Jonathan Gannon is right now? Because I'd love to, but I have no energy for it. It was terrible. Absolutely terrible. And as Gerald Fisher just said, that damn zone. Yeah, that damn zone got shredded tonight. Absolutely shredded tonight. Shredded. You got to have some. I mean, you got to have something. You got to be able to have some sort of change early in that football game when you first realize that you're getting shredded. And you first realized you were getting shredded from the opening Chiefs drive. Now, I get not making a change after 1 touchdown. But after the Chiefs did what the Chiefs did, basically going into halftime, maybe at the start of the third quarter, you got to have something else that you can go to if you're Jonathan Gannon and say, hey, this isn't working. We need to do something different. And they didn't. It's as simple as that. They didn't. It was the same stuff. I mean, sure, Jalen's fumble killed the game. Okay, 7 points. Chiefs just go in and score in that final drive for a touchdown. They kicked a field goal. Jalen didn't. It's not Jalen's fault. It's not Jalen's fault. Jalen's going to make $50 million this offseason. He deserves $50 million this offseason. 100%. Yeah, I mean, was there a penalty called on the Chiefs besides the offside jump? Didn't see one. Yeah. Yeah, the punt return was brutal, obviously, but we still went and scored. It was still, you went right in the field and scored. You scored 35 points. I mean, what do you want? Goodness gracious, you got to get stops. You got to see the Chiefs punter a couple of times. You got to. And yeah, I'm not blaming refs today at all. It wasn't a hold. It's not a hold in that situation. On, week 3 at a 1:00 kickoff in Minnesota on 1st down and 10 when, on a 7-0 game in the first quarter, sure, you can call that a hold. You can't call that a hold on 3rd down and 8 with a minute something to go in a tie ball game in a Super Bowl. You can't call it. Simple as that. You just can't call it. Ball was uncatchable. Looked pretty uncatchable to me, although it was still in bounds. So you can get the ruling there. But yeah, you can't call that penalty. But you also can't give up back-to-back touchdown drives in a second half of an NFL Super Bowl. You can't. You can't. It's that simple. And I don't care. Patrick Mahomes is one of the all-time greats. I don't care. You got to get a stop. Get a stop. It's as simple as that. You got to get a stop. They couldn't get a stop. Yeah. I'll be very interested to see what comes out of this whole the press conferences. I would love to know if Jonathan Gannon has said anything. I'm sure we'll cover it on the show tomorrow, but it's going to be very interesting to see what to see if Jonathan Gannon does anything. If we hear anything. Yeah. I don't know. All right, I'll read some comments. Give me some comments. Jalen outplayed Pat, no question. He did, technically, but Pat scored on every single drive in the second half, and the Eagles punted once. So technically, Mahomes outplayed him in that respect. Drew Collison just needed to stop on defense. Just one. And by the time that it got late in the fourth quarter, I told myself in my head it would take a turnover. That was the only way. They weren't going to get a stop. It would take a turnover for them to have a chance, and they didn't get one. They didn't get that. They didn't get a sack. Chiefs offensive line played a hell of a game. Was Nakobe Dean even used in this game? No, he wasn't. He was on special teams. He didn't play. Gannon sat in their zone. Reed was absolutely picked clean. Gannon made no adjustments whatsoever. Yeah, eventually with Jonathan Gannon, you have to come down to this. What was the problem with the Eagles defense last year? They got picked apart by good offenses and good quarterbacks. Now, they didn't play a lot of great quarterbacks this year, but a couple of the good ones did play pretty good football. You can make the argument, really the Aaron Rodgers game, you saw Jonathan Gannon's defense get a little exposed. And I think that has to be something you really look at yourself if you're Jeffrey Lurie, whether regardless Jonathan Gannon gets the job in Arizona tomorrow or not. Although it'll be fascinating to see the Cardinals hire him tomorrow after what you just saw last night. But the idea that you can't make adjustments out of a zone, which is notorious for getting picked apart by good quarterbacks, and the fact that you're watching it happen time and time again, and you don't make any adjustments, I think a change has to be made. Jonathan Gannon will have to be fired or let go or sign somewhere else, and that's got to be your hope. Shane Steichen just inked the Colts job, by the way. If I'm a Colts fan, I love the fact that what I saw from Shane Steichen, unbelievable. Blessing says the Eagles linebackers were terrible all game. They were worried about the pass. They forgot about the run. It was TJ Edwards' worst game. And I've been a TJ Edwards fan all year long. Worst game. Horrible. Kazir White's gone. He was on a one-year deal. Kazir White's gone. They'll put Nakobe Dean in there and hope he grows into what he's supposed to be. But Edwards was horrible. Marcus Epps was really bad, too. They need a safety and they need a cornerback because, I'm not re-signing James Bradbury after that. And I defended James Bradbury ad nauseum this year. He was good this year, but didn't like what I saw there. Yeah. Listen, I'm not really interested in being the voice of reason right now, but I will say this, right? Everyone's not going to leave. They're not going to fire everybody. They're not going to get rid of every single player you don't like. This is still a good football team that's going to have a very long offseason. Everyone who loses the Super Bowl does. They will make plenty of changes. Trust me, plenty of changes, but you still have cap space. You have 2 first-round draft picks. You have the second runner-up in the MVP who scored almost, 5? Did he score 5 touchdowns tonight? 4? They'll be okay. But as Eagle fans, we got to sit here and take it on the chin. That's why I'm live right now. I don't want to be live right now. But I think I owe it to you guys to be live right now and hang out for a little bit. Let's see here. Stop pretending like we will be fine. We will be fine. Doesn't mean we're gonna be back to a Super Bowl. That's that's part of the issue is that you don't just make it back to Super Bowls every single year. But yeah, you think the refs took over? No, I don't. It was a bad call. It was a horrible call. Horrible call. But you have to understand that that one play call didn't cost the Eagles the game. You know, it was Patrick Mahomes driving down the field for the 5th straight time in a row that got them into field goal range, and the Eagles were on their heels all game long, and James Bradbury was terrified of getting burnt. Terrified of getting burnt, so he held on a little bit. Was it a hold? No. But I'm wearing this jersey, so, I have these things behind me. So obviously I have a little bit of a bias here, but you just can't make that call. But as Cal Bundy just said, he is correct. Bad call. Defense has to get stops. Absolutely. Ooh, man. I know it didn't, but it blew a chance for the Eagles to tie it up. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is what happens. This is the National Football League. Kurt Warner doesn't throw a pick to Steelers linebacker going into halftime. He runs it back for a pick six. Larry Fitzgerald doesn't get tackled. Antonio Holmes doesn't make the catch. I mean, maybe the Cardinals have won a Super Bowl, right? I mean, we can do all these things. We can do all these what ifs. This is what you live with now for the rest of your life. And then eventually the Eagles go back to a Super Bowl and you win and you move on and you're happy. But this is welcome to getting to deal with this for at least 6 months. It's going to hurt. I got other teams' fans are raising us. They didn't even make it here. Yeah, well, that's what happens. My phone blows up with people who don't like the Eagles. They like other teams, and yet they want to gloat about it. But that's fine. I actually have learned from that because I used to do that to people when their teams would lose, and I've really slowed down on that because it's not fun when you're on the other side. Not fun. I don't understand what the one guy's talking about. AJ Brown was fantastic in this game. He's great. AJ Brown was fantastic. That second touchdown of the game, incredible. Yeah, the Eagles did let Jalen down. The Eagle defense. Guys, there is no critique for the Eagle offense tonight. Zero. There's zero critique. You can make one single critique is Jalen Hurts hangs onto the football. Crazy stuff happens. Slips out. Pick six or scoop and score. Yeah. Terrible. Other than that, the Eagles offense was 99.2% perfect. Perfect. They were perfect. Literally perfect. 35 points is perfect. But it's the defense. Yeah, see, you say everyone says that Gannon doesn't get a coaching job because of this, but Gannon apparently is a finalist for the Cardinals coaching job. One, because the Cardinals are so darn desperate because their quarterback is horrific, and two, because people for whatever reason like Gannon, and that's not. And you and I don't like Gannon, but a lot of people like Gannon in and around the league, which is funny. Tony's return should not have happened. I agree. Sipos had a horrific punt. Horrific. Special teams needs improvement. Yeah, I mean, the problem with the special teams, minus Jake Elliott, who's incredible, by the way, perfect in the postseason. There's kick coverage has been bad this year, and kick returns have been nothing. I think Britton Covey had a 30-yard punt return, which was the longest punt return I've seen in the past decade. So, yeah, you have to fix that. Let Gannon go. Cardinals, please help. Draft a punter in the first round. Look, Eagle fans, your team is still 1A, 1B, best in the NFC. Yep, it's very true. Very true. You want a critique for the offense? I'll give you a critique. Where's Miles Sanders? I like Kenny Gainwell. Where's Miles Sanders? Seriously, where's Miles Sanders? They better announce that Miles Sanders has been dealing with some sort of knee injury and was on a pitch count tomorrow because it's really bad that he didn't get more touches. Now, again, ended up not needing him because the offense was just fine. They scored 35 points. So had the Eagles scored 35 points, or maybe had the Eagles, offense struggled, defense played well, we would be ripping, where's Miles Sanders? But you scored 35 points. So Let Sanders go. It seems like they're not going to re-sign him. If you wanted to re-sign Miles Sanders, you play him in that Super Bowl like crazy. You do. Boston Scott should have run more. Agreed. Chiefs are on the schedule next year at home. That'll be a good one. Darius is your name. Big play, slay my ass, suckers. Hurts clutch. Yeah. Slay was bad. I mean, okay. I'm going to do a lot of breakdowns on what happens for Philadelphia going forward. And Slay is signed. Slay will be here next year. But Slay was terrible. James Bradbury was terrible. Marcus Epps obviously was terrible. They will go heavy secondary in the 2023 offseason. Heavy. Whether it's free agents, whether it's number 10 overall, whether it's number 30 overall, that's where their draft pick will be because they're only 31 picks because the Dolphins forfeiting. They will not re-sign James Bradbury. They will draft a corner or trade for a corner or sign a corner, and they will try and fix this. And honestly, you can make the argument tonight that that's what they needed. But you want to go quickly to what's who you're losing this offseason. You're probably losing Brandon Graham. You're probably losing Fletcher Cox. You're for sure losing James Bradbury. You're probably losing Miles Sanders. You're probably losing Isaac Seumalo. Top of my head. I'll have to look it all up and figure it all out. But yeah, that is probably what's going to happen. Silver lining Hurts as a dog. Yeah, I'm fine with doing silver linings right now, despite being dead inside. But yeah, Jalen Hurts, as we've said for months now, is legit, absolutely legit. He's a serious quarterback in the National Football League. He's terrifying for everybody out there. Everybody out there is terrified of Jalen Hurts. And you got to realize, if you want a silver lining, which I know we all don't want right now, but your offensive core is all here. Lane Johnson for sure back next year. Landon Dickerson back next year. We'll see about Kelsey. Maybe will be back next year. Obviously, Jordan Mailata is back next year. Your offensive line is going to be fine. Running game, you have Gainwell. You can draft somebody in the later rounds or sign somebody cheap. You're not going to have Sanders, but your receiving core is all there. Watkins will be there. Goddard is on a good contract. A.J. Brown is on a 5-year deal. Devontae Smith is still on a rookie deal. The offense is going to be just fine. And you have got to figure out a way to not fix the defense. You got to figure out a way to have a defense in big games against good quarterbacks. And maybe I did overlook the fact it was Daniel Jones and Brock Purdy. But at the same time, you still felt like the defense was going to be able to do something. I mean, just something. Sack. I mean, one sack tonight. One sack. Probably back to Super Bowl next year. No good NFC teams like the 49ers. See, Reed, I would love that. You never know. You never know. Yeah, I will say, someone just said, how does it feel losing the Super Bowl when you were up 10? That the field goal at the end of the half was really good because you got points, but that needed to be 6. That's why the Philly special in 2017 was so special, because Philadelphia had a chance to kick a field goal, went for it on 4th down, and got 6, and it made a world of a difference. World of a difference. Invest in linebackers that can cover. Well, I think you will. I think his name is Nakobe Dean, and he'll be a starting linebacker next year. Maddox was horrific in this game. Oh my gosh, I forgot. Horrific. Horrific in coverage. I would love to go through Twitter right now and see if we have any sort of quotes. I guess I guess I will do that. Might as well, right? So we can we can take a look at what's going on in terms of I'm sure Sirianni has spoken to the media. And I don't know if they're going to let Gannon be in front of the media. But let's see. Let's see if we have anything. Man. Ooh, man. Jalen Hurts played so... He was so good. Oh, man. All right, here are your free agents next year. I mean, come on. We might as well say this. Cox, Quinn, Brandon Graham, Hargrave. Boy, how do you keep Hargrave? How can you afford to keep Hargrave? You need him. Kelsey, Bradbury, Seumalo, Dillard, White, TJ Edwards, and Ndamukong Suh, Linval Joseph, Boston Scott, Zach Pascal, Miles Sanders, Rick Lovato, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Tyree Jackson, Gardner Minshew, Marcus Epps. So the two biggest ones are C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Javon Hargrave. Those are the two that you have to re-sign, but you probably can only afford one. They're going to lose a lot of players. Thankfully, they have 2 first-round draft picks, but they are going to lose players. Devontae Smith was incredible in this game. Incredible. Yeah, I don't see any. Still processing what I just watched. Yeah, me too. Me too. Hurts was 27 of 38, 304 passing yards, 70 rushing yards, 4 total touchdowns. Hmm. Mm. Oh, man. Super chats if you guys want to get your questions up on the board, although I understand why you haven't. Thanks for a great season, Thomas. Yay. It's not over. I'll do a show tomorrow. I'll do a show Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday. I mean, come on. But I know what you're saying. I appreciate it. Blame the rest of the chat, but what about that fumble touchdown that was called back as incomplete? No, that was an incomplete pass. Incomplete pass. 100% an incomplete pass. Someone just DM me on Instagram said, I'm so sad. Me too, Jordan. Me too, buddy. Me too. Trust me. Yeah, hey, you can't blame the refs, guys. Let's just we got to be real. You can't blame the refs. You can't blame the refs. The refs barely called penalties. Barely. I mean, for Carl Sheffers, who's literally a ref throwing flag machine, he called a very clean game. Now, you can't call that penalty in that position on 3rd down and 8 in a tie ball game in what is going down as one of the greatest Super Bowls of all time. Could have been, besides the ending. You can't call that one, right? On a ball that Mahomes is trying to throw to the corner of the end zone. You can't call that one, okay? So we're all on that, for sure. But you also can't give up how many straight touchdowns to Patrick Mahomes? You can't give up play after play after play where they just move the football at will. It was at will in the second half. Take it for what it is. Our defense didn't make no type of changes. Yeah. I mean, you can start picking people apart, and Reddick is on a big contract. He's going to be here for a while, but obviously Reddick's got to get some pressure. That's clear. I mean, Hassan Reddick did nothing in that game. Now, I love Hassan Reddick. He's the best pass rusher we got. We got him in contract, but I agree. Caleb, I appreciate this super chat. Thanks, Thomas. Been fun. Reed called a great game. He did. Let's give credit to Andy Reid. Goodness gracious, it's tough to defend. But at the same time, you would think, and again, I'm not a defensive coordinator. I don't sit in these meetings. I don't know these things. But you're about to play Andy Reid. You have 2 weeks as a defensive coordinator to prepare for Andy Reid. What's the one thing Andy Reid does better than anybody else? Motion. Pre-snap motion. He's incredible at it. And what did Philadelphia get absolutely obliterated on all after the second half? Pre-snap motion. So if you're Jonathan Gannon and you want to critique him tonight, which I have done with a straight face without running and screaming because like I want to on the inside, like I am right now, you have to look at Jonathan Gannon and go, what have you been doing for the past 2 weeks? What did you do? Did you just assume Patrick Mahomes' ankle was going to be hurt? Because you could have just come to me and asked, hey, Thomas, is Patrick Mahomes' ankle going to hinder his performance? And I would look at you like you're an idiot because there's something called painkillers and adrenaline. And those are pretty darn effective. Devon, DVan33 with a 199. Appreciate it. Great game. The players, they leave. We really don't need, well, most of them, right? I mean, you need Javon Hargrave and you need CJ Gardner-Johnson. And they will re-sign CJ Gardner-Johnson. Trust me, they will re-sign CJ Gardner-Johnson. But I don't know how you afford Javon Hargrave when Atlanta can offer him $15 million a year. Now you have Jordan Davis, right? So that's the expectation there. Is he's supposed to be able to do something? Milt Williams still technically there on a deal, but it's going to be a fascinating offseason. Let's say that, which is why you should subscribe to my show. Shameless plug. because it's going to be a fascinating offseason to see what Howie Roseman does. Fascinating. Frank says, Thomas, you're so right about penalties not costing us the game, although it hurts. We didn't stop them in the second half. Yeah, simple as that. Go with Epps all day? No, Epps cannot be the safety going forward. How much money do we have in the cap to re-sign some of our dogs? We have $5 million right now. That's it. Now, that can obviously change with restructuring, with, new contracts. But right now, you have about 5. Clippy out of here, too sad. I feel you on that. Trust me, I'm with you. I'm going to go to bed soon. I don't care what he says. Nick is best offensive-minded head coach in the league. He's right up there. Nick Sirianni did a great job. Patrick Mahomes makes commercial State Farm, and they win the State Farm Stadium. Easy to take the L. If it wasn't for that penalty, I'm kind of salty, though. Yeah, I agree with that. I think about this. If you give Jalen Hurts the ball one more time, just, down 3, anything can happen. There was going to be 1:30 left in that game, and then they lose. It's still very heartbreaking. I'm still talking in a very monotone voice, but at least you had a chance. To take that chance away from us is a rough call. Worst call ever. I'm in South Philly. Town is crazy right now. Gunshots and rioting. Stay safe out there, guys. Impressive how you know all of this. Well, it's my job. Let's see. Penalty. It ended just like the Cincinnati game. Yep. Yeah. Draft focused on D, maybe except for maybe a running back or O-line later in the draft. I agree with that. Space Nugget, 100%. I would have been okay if we had a chance at the end of the game, but the penalty really decided the game. It did. Very much so. Offensive disappeared the second half. What? Did it? Maybe for a drive. I remember Jalen Hurts leading us on an 80-yard touchdown drive, and then scoring on a must-have 2-point conversion to give the ball back to the Chiefs with less than 4 minutes to go. That's what I remember. And then I remember thinking the defense needed to make a stop. They didn't do it. Excuses. You lost. I know. That's why I'm. What excuse am I making? I'm telling you, the defense sucked. I'm an Eagle hater. Not gonna lie. Glad they lost. The penalty was a little too chippy. Win the game. We get the ball 100%. Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with this. That's fine. But I don't think that there's a bunch of fake fans. I think there are a bunch of frustrated fans right now, and you're looking at one of them. I mean, we're frustrated. Come on. I am simply doing this live right now because I know I know what it feels like, obviously, as a fan, and I understand that having some place to listen, someone to listen to, and some place to chat and vent is a good place to be. So I will do this for a while and then hang out with you guys. Time management was horrible at the fourth quarter. It wasn't terrible if you get stops. Chiefs, but the new Patriots, Tom Brady all over again. That's true. I mean, Andy Reid's great, guys. Patrick Mahomes is great, but if you would have told me yesterday, Jalen Hurts scores 4 touchdowns, throws for 300 yards. They put 35 on the board. And would you take it? I would say, yeah. Well, that means we won by 15. Didn't get a stop. Lucky punt return. Yeah, that punt return was excruciating. But Sipos has got to hit the punt. I mean, we're all excited for Brett Kern to not be there. And then here comes Aaron Sipos, and it's a duck. It's terrible. Andy Reid coached a hell of a game. He did. But you have to counter these things. I mean, you got to have a defensive scheme and a play call for motion. And, I understand motion can beat man a lot, but motion can also really screw defenders when it comes to zone. The wasted timeout hurt us at the end of the game. We could have had it. We have that. It could have been different. 3 timeouts. Maybe. Sure. Maybe get a stop. Maybe don't let Patrick Mahomes, who's on one leg, run for 40 yards. Maybe don't do that. This is very true. It's not a super chat, but Murray's right. You can read it for yourself. He's right. Need to work to get through the frustration together. That's why I'm here. Yes, that wasn't a lucky punt return. That was skill. If you say so. Jalen Hurts should have been MVP in a losing effort. 3 TDs. I mean, Chuck Howley's defensive MVP and Dallas losing effort Super Bowl 5. Yeah, that was 10 or something. Field was our downfall the way our defense was built. Kansas City should have adapted, but it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, the field is interesting, right? And I'll be interested to see what kind of post-game stuff we get from the players because any journalist worth his salt is going to ask about the field. The field is horrific. And you can make an argument our pass rush was slowed down by the fact that they couldn't, move on the football field. But both teams were playing on it, so it's not an excuse. He goes, Rushdie was non-existent. Yeah. And Ndamukong Suh, non-existent. He also had a bad penalty. on the legal hands to face. Linval Joseph, non-existent. You make the case Jordan Davis did nothing tonight. Thanks for all you do, Thomas. It was a great game. Flag was fly. I appreciate you, Ernest. I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone hanging out right now. I'm very appreciative of the live right now. It's not easy. I know. That's why I'm here. If you like the show, they give it a thumbs up. Subscribe. You guys know the drill. Gosh, we got a lot of comments. Donatello Dragon, I appreciate this big time. Appreciate you letting us vent our pain. It wouldn't hurt as much if it wasn't for that call. Jalen played his best game. It's still go Birds. Yeah. Yeah, you try to figure out the most frustrating part. If you watch my show on a daily basis, I appreciate it. But I've been an avid defender of Jalen Hurts all year. I would get so sick and tired of watching friends, people I hang out with, people on Twitter, local sports people, national sports people rip this kid. And all Jalen Hurts did was go through hell in college, get benched in the national championship game that your team won. That's tough to watch. All he did was watch himself get benched, have to transfer, move cities, move his entire life, leave all his friends at Alabama, ball out at Oklahoma, but have no defense. Story of his life, apparently. Get drafted by Philadelphia for a franchise that didn't want him, because most of us didn't. We wanted Carson Wentz, including myself. Looked terrible his first full year start as a starter throwing the football, to the point that everybody makes it a laughing point that, hey, I don't care what the Eagles do this offseason. Jalen Hurts is not good. He can't throw the football. He can't throw right. He can't throw down the field. He's not accurate enough. He overcomes all of that in one offseason, becomes an extremely efficient passer, throws an incredible deep ball, becomes a leader of a football team at the age of 24. What were you doing at the age of 24? That's an interesting question to ask. Leads Philadelphia to the playoffs on an injured shoulder, to blowout wins in the divisional round, the NFC title game, comes into the Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes, who will go down as the greatest quarterback of my generation behind Tom Brady, or maybe alongside him, who knows, and outdueled him. Statistically, he played better than Patrick Mahomes tonight. Now, Mahomes was great in the second half. Props to him. But Jalen Hurts did all of that, to the point that if the Eagles win that game, all we hear tomorrow are finally the praises being sung around Jalen Hurts. The national media people have to admit it. They have to admit that Jalen Hurts is actually really, really good. And yet tomorrow, all we are going to hear is that Jonathan Gannon was trash, which he was, and that the refs blew the game at the end, which they did. But all we're going to hear is how great Patrick Mahomes is, and you're not going to hear anything about Jalen Hurts. And that, to me, is one of the most frustrating things about today, because Jalen Hurts played his absolute ass off, and it's horrific that he didn't get a win. And life's unfair sometimes, and tonight's a great example of that. Levi with the 5. I appreciate that. Play off the game was the Hurts fumble. He replayed that in his head all season long. He'll use it as motivation. Yeah, I mean, come on. If you think Jalen Hurts is not going to be motivated after what happened tonight, then you don't know who Jalen Hurts is, obviously. But Stephon Diggs. You think about that classic picture of Stephon Diggs after the Bills lost to the Chiefs in the divisional round, maybe with the AFC title game. Diggs worked his ass off, and they didn't get back. There's no guarantee the Eagles get back. That's what's tough. They should. There's no guarantee. BMF Gamer, thanks for the video. Love watching you. Amazing Jalen Hurts story. Cry, Eagles, cry. Hey, I'll take your $5 though. One love. I mean, I could rip into Cowboy fans right now. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. But, the Eagle fan, we Eagle fans would do the same thing if Dak Prescott and the Cowboys just lost the game. So I appreciate it. Appreciate the 5. Canik Shep says, thanks for the Band-Aid ripoff by being live, being locked in at tight end, wide receiver, and quarterback with Hurts does keep the drive going. And again, I just mentioned it. We're not even going to talk about some of the throws that Jalen Hurts made in this football game. Dallas Goedert was unbelievable in this game. Those back-to-back passes to Goedert sliding for a first down, and then Goedert out of bounds. Insane. Those are insane throws and insane catches, and it's wasted now. And that's what sucks. But this is what happens in 2017 if Philly loses that game. We don't talk about the Philly special. You got to win. You got to win to be talked about, and that's what sucks. You got to win. Nice. Then we have to listen to Chris Sims' dumbass tomorrow. What do you say if you're Chris Sims tomorrow? I'd be very interested to see what Chris Sims is going to say tomorrow. Because I don't know how you rip Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was perfect. He was perfect. Oh. And we might find out tomorrow that Jalen Hurts has some sort of tear in his shoulder that's going to require offseason surgery and rehab. And if that's the case, then goodness gracious, we're talking about one of the all-time Super Bowl performances. Wasted. It's wasted. Hurts played his best and still lost. It's true. Hurts deserves $50 million a year in a 10-year contract. Hurts, he will get $50 million a year. Right now, he will. Accept it. Accept the fact that Jalen Hurts will get $50 million a year. I've accepted it. I'm fine with it. Patrick Mahomes was the highest paid quarterback in the league, and they weren't able to afford Tyreek Hill, and they just won a Super Bowl in what was supposed to be a rebuilding year. I mean, you got to cut the BS with this whole idea that if Jalen Hurts takes money, the Eagles are going to stink forever. No. Jalen Hurts proved tonight he can be the best player on a football field in a Super Bowl. Think about that. Right? Think about that. Even worse when none of the Eagles won awards this year. Yeah. Yeah, if you're just joining us, obviously go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe. I'll say this again. I've been saying this all night. The pass interference call or whatever it was, the holding call was atrocious. I made the analogy. If this was week 4 at Minnesota, 1st down and 10 in the first quarter, you can call that play and we'll whine about it on Twitter and we will move on. You can't throw that flag with a minute something to go, 3rd down and 8 in a tie football game where Philadelphia has a chance to get a stop, which they did. Credit to them. Their first one of the entire, what would have been their first one of the entire second half. And then at the same time, throw that flag and ruin it. You can't do that. You can't do that. But you also have to get stops on defense, guys. You got to get stops on defense. Anyone saying anything other than defense is the reason that we lost tonight is crazy. BFM, because you didn't tear me apart for being a Cowboys fan, you earned a sub and $5. Hey, you want to see me do it again? Honestly, dude, I'm so dead inside right now. I'm dead inside. I'm dead inside right now. That's why I'm not tearing you apart. I'm also not a mean guy, but I am dead inside. Truly, I am. For anyone who thinks that I just talk about the Eagles for YouTube or something like that, and that all this is fake behind me, I wish you could have been my girlfriend or my roommate or my friend watching with me tonight because I'm dead inside, and it was it was a rough night. But I'm trying to be an adult and hang out with you guys because I remember being a kid in 2004, 8 years old. The Eagles lost the Super Bowl, and I went to my room and I cried myself to sleep because I was 8. Okay. I remember that my mom came in and consoled me, and it was very helpful. And so my job is to console you tonight while also consoling myself because I don't want to go to sleep right now because I'm just miserable. My job is to console you and hang out. That way your evening is a little bit less miserable. How about that? What we got? A lot of comments. We're trying to go through all these. We did so well in the first half. Yeah. That I'm telling you, the Devontae Smith catch on the sideline, which I know it moved, but it didn't move enough, right? I mean, that's the whole problem. It didn't move enough. You get points there. Jalen Hurts doesn't fumble the football. You're getting points on that drive. And then, a couple of weird calls to end the half. You only get 3. Ooh, it was rough. Kenny G needs more touches. Well, he's going to because they're not going to re-sign Miles Sanders. I like Kenny Gainwell. I just think Sanders is better. Torres called. We can't do anything about it. Gannon did not prepare for pre-snap motion, and that's when that's their entire up. That's Lakers squad nailed it. That's if you just joined my stream, I've been going for 43 minutes. That's all I've said for 43 minutes is this exact quote. Read it again. Notorious call, but we can't do nothing about it. Gannon did not prepare for the pre-snap motion when that's their entire offense. That's it. Now, I'm sure he prepared. He didn't do a good enough job. And what's crazy is Vic Fangio was supposed to be helping out. I just remembered that. Remember that? That was the whole pregame story. Vic Fangio, this brilliant defensive mind who's helped you during the season, signed on for 2 weeks before being the highest paid D coordinator in Miami. He's supposed to be helping you get ready for Patrick Mahomes. Didn't help much. My whole city is quiet and mourning. I would love, Philly's. Sorry, guys. I don't live in Philly, but I was there for both playoff games, and I can only imagine what it's like tonight. I feel really bad for the little kids because I remember where I was. I remember being, like I said, being 8 and crying myself to sleep. It's brutal being a little kid. When you love your team and your team loses, it's absolutely brutal. Say Vegas had a role in this, but the defense let us down today. Yeah, I agree. Defense was, it was bad. My goodness. 28 years old, and I might cry myself to sleep. I might too. I'm 26. How many defenses are the 85 Bears, Dean? I don't know. No sacks, barely a hurry for Mahomes, and I gave up 119 yards the second half. 2 fake crossing routes. They both bit times for TDs. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, nutritious. What does that say? I don't know what that word is. I appreciate the super chat, though. I love donating to you for some random reason. Hey, if you want to keep going, send me $50. How about that? I'll ask you. Send me 50. If you love it, send me 50. I've never asked for anything like that. I'd at least smile if I got that. I love it, Mike. 20-something cry about everything anyway. Yeah. I haven't cried in a while though. So, what is your off-season plan? My off-season plan is to do this show every day. So subscribe. You should subscribe to this show. And if you join, I have a Boston Scott signed mini helmet that I'm going to give to one of the members of the show tomorrow. I'll pick one. I thought I'd be giving a Super Bowl champion signed helmet, but I won't be. But I will be sending it to somebody. I'll pick someone tomorrow. Let me know. I live in Philly, man. It's quiet. You can hear a pin drop. Yeah, I can only imagine. Dick Hammer, last 2 world championships in 2 sports. Oh, I forgot about the Phillies. Oh my gosh. You're right. Ooh, that hurts. I almost wish I didn't read that. Oh, like you're right. He won't do it. You need mods to ban Mike Evans. The dude is a beta. If I see him again, I can do that. I don't see him though. A lot of chats right now. I'm trying to go through this all. The refs wanted Mahomes to win. Don't know if they did. Eagle defense couldn't be an injured Patrick Mahomes. That's what's crazy is that the whole conversation in Philadelphia is that, you know, Mahomes is injured. Your pass rush is historically great. Obviously, you're going to get sacks. And they didn't even touch him. They didn't even touch him once. Like, what are we doing? Squad. We're doing some spelling here. I don't even know what that word is, honestly. But if you keep misspelling it, it means you keep donating. So I appreciate that. Join button down below. Subscribe. Thumbs up. What is that? Thomas Mott show. Let's see. Jalen is real. He is real. State Farm Stadium, Mahomes is in commercials. Conspiracy confirmed. Sanders didn't get the ball enough. I agree with that, Alex. 100%. 100%. I'm not saying that all year. I think we could see Sanders with an injury announcement tomorrow. Wouldn't shock me. Gannon needs to go. Face red, droopy eye. Gannon got out schemed. Yeah, Gannon got out coached. Hurts played his best game today. I think he did. He's played great games all year long. I mean, goodness gracious, but I think he did. I mean, if you're an Eagle fan, if you want one little tiny bit of positivity, and I hate doing this because I am not a, world is ending. Let me give you a glass half full comment because I hate when people do that. It's like so stupid. It's like I don't need you to baby me, right? I'm an adult. I don't need a baby. You don't need to throw me a bone here. But if you do want one little bone, it's that Jalen Hurts is legit. We knew this, but in case you were still holding out, then, maybe tonight proved it to you. Maybe tonight. I would love to do a show tomorrow and play a clip from some national media person saying that. That would be nice. That would be very nice tomorrow. What does that say? I'm about to hit the bong 5,000 times until I pass out. I wouldn't do that. Hurts comes back with a chip on his shoulder, but yeah, it's a bummer because next year ain't guaranteed. Yeah, it's not a super chat, but I echo this for sure. For sure. Yeah, nothing's guaranteed. It's tough. Thomas, who no one believed the Chiefs' long return was the turning point. It was. Okay, the Kings keeps talking about like the punt return. Like I don't think it was bad. The punt return was horrible. It was a terrible punt and horrible kick coverage. And that's what happens when you fumble a football. It's a Deshaun Jackson against the Giants all over again. You drop the ball, the defense, the coverage team freaks out. They go to try to grab it, and then he picks it up and runs it. But you still went down the field and scored and got 2 after that, right? Like, the kick return wasn't the game winner. And plus, who's to say, let's say you stop him at the Chiefs 30, Mahomes was going to drive down anyway. That's what they did. How are you Eagles feeling? Toast? People still don't Hurts. Shit baffles me. Excuse me. Yeah, you wonder if the Chiefs and Eagles will play in week 1. I doubt it. I doubt it. I don't think so. 2 touchdowns, same kind of play were demoralizing. Yeah, once they crossed the 50, you knew that they were scoring. Oh, yeah, Brandon and Ayuk is a Debo Samuel are both laughing somewhere, but they also were laughing from their couch. So, where was Blankenship? Well, with CJ Gardner-Johnson back, they didn't really need to play Blankenship because Blankenship doesn't play Marcus Epps' position. You got to remember that, right? You can't bench Epps for Blankenship because Blankenship plays the one safety and Epps plays the other. Niner fans, nothing better to do. It's true because they, didn't play, but they're watching my stream, so I can't argue with that. Philly never played an offense like that all season. They played fluke all offenses. You make that's a fair argument. I feel like I didn't see Robert Quinn. I noticed Robert Quinn on one play. It was a goal line play. I don't. He's obviously gone. Better than crying at the Super Bowl. Yeah, maybe. I guess I'm glad I didn't pay $7,000 to go to the game, but I mean, it would have been fun up until they lost, right? Oh man, let's see if we have any sort of tweet updates. We're gonna hang out a little bit more, and I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna go to sleep. Oh man, poor Jason Kelsey. Any more super chats? Get him in here. Let's see. Jason Kelsey, Nick Sirianni, James Bradbury all blamed each other. Or sorry, all blamed themselves. They did not blame the refs. Whoa, Matthew with a 49.99. Oh my gosh, that's the biggest one I've ever gotten. Defense was horrible. Jalen deserved better. Horrid. Wow, that's insane. I appreciate that. I really do. Defense was horrid. Jalen deserves better. I'd give anything. I would give absolutely anything to be in the locker room, and I would love to hear what Jalen Hurts has to say. I'd love to know what Jalen Hurts is going to do. What do you do if you're Jalen Hurts? You just played maybe the best game of your career in the Super Bowl, something that most people only dream about going to, and you lose because your defense was terrible. What what is he? I mean, you just go on vacation, I guess. I don't know. My gosh, thank you, Matthew. I appreciate that big time. That's huge. The defense, I mean, yeah, the defense lost it today. They got obliterated today. Horrific today. Terrible today. Great super chat, though. I really appreciate that. Nick Sirianni, the Bradbury call. That's what he saw, and he called it. There are so many plays that contribute to the end result of the game. There you go. There's Sirianni being the bigger man and doing his thing. Brandon Graham ends his press conference by giving the Chiefs credit, then pauses and says, "We'll be back next year." Does Brandon Graham come back? I don't know. And Chiefs head coach Andy Reid says he will be back. Trying to see if anyone. I would love to see what Gannon has to say about this. Jordan Lott on the said the field was terrible. He was sure to point out was terrible for both teams. Chiefs and players were talking with each other during TV timeouts about how bad it was. He said it was like playing on a water park. Jeez. Remember, Roger Goodell said the refs are doing a good job. I remember that. Nick Sirianni said Jalen Hurts played his best game since the two of them have been together over the past 2 seasons. He was in complete control. He was. It was his best game. His absolute best game. Darius Slay said blessed and thankful. Love this group of men. Back to work. Here's a stat you won't like, but I'll say it. The most points scored by a losing team in Super Bowl history. Philadelphia tonight. 35. James Bradbury takes accountability for controversial penalty. Quote, "It was a holding. I tugged on the jersey." Yeah. So nothing from Gannon, huh? Hurts again. I said this earlier, 27 of 38, 304, 70 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns. Jeez, that's crazy. That's insane. Insane. Wow. All right, more of your questions, Matthew. Again, I'm going to keep that up there because that's the biggest one I've ever got. Going to keep that up there. It's huge. Have to be disciplined. Much respect. That was an amazing season. One of the best Super Bowls ever played. Eagles will be back from a Giants fan. Appreciate that. Please fire Jonathan Gannon. They will, but they're probably not going to have to fire him because the Cardinals are going to hire him. I mean, Arizona right now. What are your options? Seriously, what is Arizona's options? No one wants to go coach your blank organization because your quarterback's a baby. He's 4'4" and plays Call of Duty too much. No one wants to coach there. So you might be winning by default in Jonathan Gannon because you got to hire somebody. And Gannon, if he's smart, would take it because he, going to get a massive pay raise. And then you get fired in 2 years and you still going to get paid for the next couple of years and you'd be a D coordinator somewhere else. I mean, it's obviously what he's going to do. The question is going to be, how are they going to, one, replace Jonathan Gannon? Probably an internal hire. And two, how are you going to not only replace Jonathan Gannon, but make sure you don't make the same mistakes that Jonathan Gannon has consistently made through the first 2 years of his tenure in Philadelphia, and that is get shredded by good quarterbacks. Shredded by good quarterbacks. This was literally the Bucs wildcard game last year, except for our offense was elite because we gave up a ton of points to Tom Brady, but our offense did nothing last year. We gave up a ton of points to Patrick Mahomes. Our offense did do something this year. That's the difference. That is truly the difference. Personally, Chief fans say thank you for making a good game. It was a good game. I can only imagine how much fun it was for non-Chiefs or Eagle fans to watch. But as an Eagle fan, I was sick to my stomach the entire game. Heartbreaking. We won't get an opportunity like this again. We were dominant all year. Better team tonight. Stats proved it. Yet here we are, waste an MVP performance. I know. Oh, Justin Hall says this is deflating. I know. I'm right there with you. We ran no defensive stunts, no twist. That's a good point, Kay. I didn't see any. Your coach should stop. What does that say? I can't read that. Your coach should stop mugging for the cameras and coach the game. You mean Nick Sirianni? Our offense scored 35 points. What are you talking about? Sirianni was great. Gannon did us dirty. Yes, he did. It's like an anticlimactic movie. It was. It was like getting absolutely gut punched the last second. People roasting Hurts for his Hail Mary has a bum shoulder. Yeah, and I think that's going to be insane tomorrow when we find out he has a very seriously hurt shoulder, and he still threw for 300 yards and scored 4 touchdowns. Hard to throw a 70-yard bomb. Yeah, it wasn't going to make the end zone anyway. No quarterback would have made it to the end zone. We Philly fans, we talk a fair share of crap. We have to take our lumps. Yeah, we do. We do. That's why I'm still doing this. I'll do it for a couple more minutes. Gannon. It was bad. I feel like I got punched in the stomach when the flag. Yeah, when the flag hit the field, I did too, JJ. I did too. Got to give credit to my girlfriend for watching with me. She's an Eagles fan, but watching with me during that game was tough, and she did a great job. Great job. Chiefs ran for 6.1 yards per carry. Gosh, that sucks to read. Birds don't cry. Drinking myself to sleep. I got to work tomorrow. That's my problem. I don't really want to. Got to work tomorrow. I saw the Eagles scoring to close the game. We're gonna do this what if for the rest of our lives, but what if the Eagles were down 3 with $1:45 left in the game? What if? Could they have gone down and scored? Think so. Tough on all of us. Yeah, Pacheco ran hard and he's fast. Yeah, Pacheco was great in this game. And the flag hit, I collapsed on the ground. Yeah. One's gonna hurt for a long time. Mahomes only threw for 182 yards. The run game gutted us. It'll hurt more tomorrow. I think it will. I think going to sleep, I'm tired. I'm going to wake up feeling fine. And then I'm going to be... There's a yawn right there. Oh, my gosh. Hold penalty will forever be remembered. I can't remember a lot of famous penalties in Super Bowls. This one will be remembered. Kenneth Butler, I appreciate that. All super chats are greatly appreciated right now. Think we can run it back? I do. It's not easy. Teams don't go back to Super Bowls after losing them. It just doesn't happen. I mean, you have to. Howie Roseman, for as great as he was this year, he's going to have some work to do this offseason because it's going to be interesting. Game was fixed. I don't think it was fixed. Yeah, the field was messed up. They used a new type of grass. I read on Twitter. They did some new type of grass, cost $800,000, and it was dog blank. Terrible. Gannon failed Howie. Yeah. I do think the fact that they said that they paid Vic Fangio for 2 weeks to help out with the defense, I think was the front office's way of saying, hey, we don't trust Jonathan Gannon. So we got to bring in somebody to help him. And even that couldn't stop him. Mahomes eating them perks at half. I can only imagine what they gave Patrick Mahomes at halftime. Why would they try a new type of grass at Super Bowl? Why not try it in preseason? Great question. I do not know. Great question. Everyone keeps saying San Francisco is going to make it hard to get back to the Super Bowl. Really? The San Francisco 49ers that for the life of them can't get back to a Super Bowl after they lost theirs? Bad super chat. Well, you could put in. You could super chat again. I'll put another one up. Thomas, am I crazy or was that a BS call? I've said it before. Was it holding? Yes. But can you call that in the situation that it was in the Super Bowl? No. No. So in that case, it was a BS call. But technically, by the rules, you can't hold on to him. But technically, by the rules, you shouldn't throw the darn flag because it's a Super Bowl. Lost KC, deserve it. 49ers are the 40 whiners. Yes, they are. Rick makes a good point. Ball wasn't catchable. That's the whole problem. Like, if he's not held, do you think he catches it? I don't. I agree. I don't think it was catchable. Bro, that was Bowl. Y'all were supposed to win. I did too. So don't call a hold because it's the Super Bowl. Dumb logic. No, you just don't take over a football game as a referee. That's the ref's job is not to be talked about the next day. That's your job. Your job is to call a good game, but don't interfere in the biggest moments. And in the biggest moments, if it's a chippy play or a bang bang play like that wasn't blatant. It's like you got to squint a little bit. Okay, did he kind of touch him? Yeah. That's when you don't throw the flag. Talk about the fumble return for a touchdown that was called back. It wasn't a fumble. It was a clear incomplete pass. I think that the Devontae Smith catch, though, should have been a catch and not an incomplete pass, but that's just me. I thought Devontae Smith's catch was more of a catch than Dallas Goedert's catch was, but that's just me. Very anticlimactic ending, yeah. Yeah. All right, 5 minutes. It's 11:30. I'm gonna go to sleep. 5 minutes. Get your chats in. Hit the like button. Subscribe. And be sure to be here tomorrow. I'm gonna do a show tomorrow. Be sure to subscribe. Join as well. I'd appreciate it if you join. Let's see here. How about them Cowboys? Cowboy fans are funny. I've gotten some texts from Cowboy fans tonight. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I mean, you can. How about them Cowboys all you want, but you can't make it past the divisional round. Hurts did outplay Mahomes. Who would have thought? It's true. Tomorrow for what? See who cry more. It's one of the best Super Bowls I've ever seen. Laker squad, I appreciate it. Again, scheme doesn't work, especially with a quarterback like Mahomes who loves zone defenses. I'm more hurt the way it ended. Yeah, the zone doesn't work, guys. And it's funny because we're very uncontent as Eagle fans, and so you can think back to Jim Schwartz, and Jim Schwartz blitzed a lot and got burned a lot, but he didn't have good corners, and so you do kind of wonder, could Schwartz have been a better overall D coordinator against Mahomes? Maybe. I don't know. What ifs and buts, or candies and nuts, right? Sorry about the crap call at the end. I agree. Great game. Go Philly. 27-year Cowboy fan. STFF losers. Yeah. Keep your head up, Eagle fans. I miss Schwartz. Be fascinating to see who they get to replace him with. Eagles, weak-ass pass rush. Yeah, the pass rush was so bad. So bad. Can't believe how bad the pass rush was. Just a couple sacks. Changed that game. Couldn't get one. He's a good D coordinator, but doesn't adjust well. I agree. I mean, you can't say that Gannon's trash because he's had some good games underneath his resume, but the adjustments don't seem to exist. People acting like we got killed. We lost by 3. It's true. Mahomes is good against the blitz. The best way to play is man or do what the Bucks did. Yep, I agree. Week ending to a fairly fun game. I thought it was a pretty fun game. Bears are going next year. I don't think so. Field really hampered. Pathetic. It was a hold on critical third, and they admitted it was a hold. No one would have been okay with that, but not being called, it was their team. Stop being in your feels. Okay, that's fine. 182 yards for Patrick Mahomes is crazy. It's going to be funny to watch them praise Patrick Mahomes tomorrow. And he will get his praise because he scored a bunch. But in terms of being like elite, Mahomes was not good, not elite tonight statistically, but he, didn't punt. So credit where credit is due. Fletcher and Kelsey, what happens now? I don't see how they come back. I think Kelsey retires. Jalen reminds me of a young Russell Wilson. Yep, he does. Russell Wilson went back-to-back. Won one, lost one. We'll see what happens. Was Miles Sanders even on the field? He's still going next year. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. They're not going to resign him. Fake Tom Grossi in the chat. I don't think Tom Grossi's in this chat. Haters show up when they aren't already eliminated. That's true. But you got to deal with it. Welcome to the National Football League. Welcome to the NFL. Yeah, Sanders is gone. All right, let's wrap it up. Wrap it up here. Here's the thoughts. Sucks. I mean, welcome to losing a Super Bowl. I forgot how bad this feels. Feels awful. Feels terrible. And we're gonna have to really take some time to swallow this one and think about it, because you should have won that game. 10-point lead, and you couldn't get one stop. And if you got to blame somebody, you blame the defense. You blame Jonathan Gannon because he's the D quarter. He's supposed to be in charge of that defense. But at the same time, I'll end on a positive note because I do think it's important. Jalen Hurts is extremely good. And I am just crushed that he lost that game. Matthew Baird with the 19 here. I appreciate that. Hurts is what hurts the most is Jalen might not get another chance, but that wouldn't have mattered if Gannon had prepared. Yeah, Matthew, you make a really good point, because some people only get one chance at a Super Bowl, but it can define their whole career, right? If Donovan McNabb won one Super Bowl, we would consider him, so elite, and he'd be a Hall of Famer. He didn't win a Super Bowl. No one thinks he's a Hall of Famer, and yet he won a ton of games. This is the fear with anyone losing a Super Bowl, especially a quarterback like Jalen Hurts. When are you going to go back? When's Joe Burrow going to go back? He went to a Super Bowl, lost by 4, game-winning drive, couldn't punch it in, heartbreaking. Is Joe Burrow going to go back? I mean, you just don't know. You just don't know. And that's what sucks. You don't know when you're going to get to go back. And I'm just crushed for Jalen Hurts tonight, because it was the storybook arc of everything that happened at Alabama, everything that happened at Oklahoma in terms of being great but not having a good defense, getting drafted in the second round. No one thinks you're going to be good. Everyone says you're going to be Taysom Hill at best. Playing quarterback last year. Everyone says you can't throw the football. And then having a year to remember, and yet there were still people at the end who doubted you. So you come out of the biggest game in the world, Super Bowl. You out-duel Patrick Mahomes. You score 4 touchdowns, throw for 300 yards with a bad shoulder. You rush for 70. You lead a game-tying drive after still fumbling the football in horrific fashion. In the end, your defense can't get you a stop, and you sit on the sideline without touching the ball, and you watch the confetti fall down. It's not for you. It's brutal. Life's not fair. It's not fair, but so is life. D stunk, but the Chiefs offense deserves credit. Mahomes deserves a ton of credit. Tons of credit, of course. Of course, Mahomes. Andy Reid, fantastic. Fantastic. But Jonathan Gannon has to get a stop. Jalen's just getting started. He's so young. Hurts is impressive. I think so. I think so. I think so. Don't forget he gave Casey 6. He did. I know. He did. Saints didn't have his best calls ever, having Gainwell and Scott run the middle down by 8. I don't want to rip Shane Steichen today. I just can't. JJ, you're welcome, man. I got you. Can't coach against experience. Worried about who we can keep this offseason. Me too. Me too. Worst field in NFL history. Yeah, it's amazing that no one thought the field was going to be bad. They didn't run on it and test it first. All right, guys, that's it for me. I'm done. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody, all the super chats, hanging out, bunch of people watching. Sucks, guys. It really does. It really, really does. I guess I'll stay on if there's another super chat, but if there isn't, then I think it's time. Hour and 15 minutes, 11:35. I'm gonna get some water, change, brush my teeth, go to sleep. Try to not have nightmares. Wake up, work. Move on. It's a football game. It sucks. Live to win another day. Pile cleats on the sideline shows you you don't test something in the Super Bowl. Exactly. I appreciate the two. Yeah, Shady's gonna have fun tomorrow on his on Speak. First things first, or the Fox Sports show. I would recommend you don't watch TV tomorrow. I would recommend that you don't. I wouldn't recommend it. But if you want to, you can. All right, guys. I appreciate it. Hang in there. I'll be back tomorrow. Subscribe. Missed the show. Rewatch it. See you guys.